Jesus Christ, look at liberals when they get red meat to tear into. Oh, I saw this. This was a juicy one. ICE arrests ramp up in Muslim-majority Dearborn, Michigan. And Maya Luna says, glad they're getting what they voted for. Don't I say this like all the time on stream? Don't I say this all the time? Like Trump voters should suffer as a consequence of their vote? I feel like, is this different meaningfully from, like, if you wanted to be uncharitable, you could say she's saying it about like all the Muslims in Dearborn, but she's clearly not. She's talking about the people who voted for Trump. So, you know, it also includes people who don't vote, but yeah, them too. No, okay. Well, look, varying degrees of charitability. If Maya here is saying, I think all Muslims in Dearborn should suffer, even those who voted for Kamala Harris, because enough of their people voted for Trump that they should all receive group punishment. If that was her position, obviously that's insane. But I don't think that's her position. I think her position is just the broader, like, well, getting what you voted for, you know, which, yeah, there you go, right? I mean, it's kind of, I mean, I say it. Do you blame those that didn't vote as much? No. I think that if you didn't vote, that has more to do with the Democrats' inability to give you a good candidate. I mean, Jesus Christ, the way the Democrats handle this here in Dearborn, you know, being pro-Israel, busting out Bill Clinton shit to defend their behavior. Look, I think not voting in 2024 is bad, but obviously it's worse to have voted for Trump. It is 100% the fault of the Democrats, though, that so many people are apathetic. Like, they've really failed to deliver a compelling candidate. I think she might have been not as clear as she should have, IMO. Well, I think a lot of people dislike this sentiment, this, you know, you get what you vote for thing, but I love it. Listen, people should suffer when they choose things that are pro-suffering. I don't know, like, if you press the button that says, you know, everyone is now going to get kicked in the nuts, and you get kicked in the nut, like, you have to get kicked in the nuts too to learn to not press the button. If a button shocks everyone in the tank, including you, you need to also get shocked. Yeah, when you hit the diarrhea forever for everyone button, you can't be the only one exempted, you know? If I'm being subjected to a lifetime, you know, gut-wrenching diarrhea, I need to know you are too. Because I didn't press the button. You did. Why would you ever not press the button in the future if you're exempted from it? What do you think of Destiny's take? You should get exactly what you vote for, like Republicans should be denied Medicaid and whatnot. I think that'd be based if you could actually do it. Yeah, I don't know. How are we ever going to get people to vote for good things if there are no consequences to voting for bad things? Like, people should be subjected to the consequences of their actions. If you want to live in a world where there are no, like health regulations or FDA regulations, I think you should get to shop at a separate grocery store where there's like, you know, every bite of granola bar is 40% rat droppings. I don't want to shop there. I voted for the regulations. Do you have any idea how much bad policy real hardworking American citizens have to make up for because the down in red states keep everything up with their own budgets? Federal funding, your tax dollars getting directed to compensate for their own bad domestic policies. It's like DEI, but like unironically though. They're making bad decisions. They know they're bad. I mean, at least the policymakers, they're aware of the fact they're impoverishing the state to the benefit of a few rich citizens. But they just keep it up because like whatever, they're going to keep getting voted for. The Republicans in West Virginia are well aware of the fact they can keep raping the state to death every year and nothing will ever change because all the residents of West Virginia are more concerned with transgenders in school or whatever. Seriously, how do you get good behavior from voters if when they press the wrong button, they don't get shocked? Like, Jesus, we're all getting shocked. But the black people in red states aren't voting that way, Vosh? Yeah, obviously. But I've never said, oh, you deserve to suffer because you voted blue in a red state, so why are we even talking about it? I'm just talking about Trump voters getting what Trump voters voted for. If you're a Trump voter and you're on Medicaid, yeah, I don't know, maybe your ass should die with no medical coverage. You literally wanted it! You literally pressed the button! Nobody made you press the button. A huge element of Republican messaging is just convincing voters that all the bad stuff they're suffering from wasn't caused by the thing they did and campaigned to do. Like the Medicaid, the SNAP cuts, the defunding of the ACA subsidies. We're talking tens of millions of people starving and suffering and unable to get medical care. Already rural hospitals are closing due to big, beautiful bill cuts. All of this shit is happening. The Republicans explicitly did this. Like, openly, proudly advocated for it. So what do they use their time in political capital doing? Blaming Democrats for it. How the do we get out of this environment? How do we fix this dynamic unless the people who keep pressing the wrong button get shocked? Is it spiteful? Yes, I'm very spiteful. But is it also morally good, and does it produce good outcomes? Well, yeah, I kind of think it does. Isn't it like bad parenting if somehow you keep preventing your kid from learning the lesson that touching the fire hurts? Like, if you had a magic device that, as long as you caught it in time, you could make it so that your kid wouldn't get hurt touching the candle flame, and you just keep, oh, doop, doop, oh, you know, they never learn the lesson. One of these days, you're not going to be around. You're going to swipe, they're going to swipe their hand over the candle flame, and you're not going to be around, and they're going to get really burnt. Kids have to learn. You don't touch the oven. You don't touch the pan after it comes out of the oven or the baking sheet. You don't touch your fingers to the flame. People have to learn. There are consequences to their actions. This is the whole problem that I have with electoral democracy, or one of them, at least. It's all abstracted through the voting decision. If you vote for evil things, you are doing an evil thing, you know? Much in the same way that the IDF uses AI to abstract the decision-making process behind vaporizing babies. Voting as a process abstracts the fact that every single Republican voter said yes to an agenda of mass death and evil. And a lot of them did it because they're ignorant and, you know, Yeah, I'm not saying every single one of them consciously was aware, but they still pressed the button. I don't think a baby is consciously aware of the pain it's about to feel when it touches the baking sheet that just came out of the oven, but they still have to learn to not touch the baking sheet. A lot of people didn't realize how bad Trump was because the Dems softened a large portion of Trump's First Amendment policies, and the neocons around him, too. Vasho beat the kid for touching the baking sheet? No. Who says beat them? They touched the baking sheet. Isn't that punishment enough? If you're a Republican voter, if you're a Trump voter, and you get your Medicaid cuts, and you die, that's you touching the baking sheet. That's the button you pressed. I'm not engaging with the essay poster. I don't even have chat up right now. I'm looking at the OBS preview window. I can't see the essay posting. Look, how will people make good voting decisions if they keep getting sheltered from the negative outcome? Haven't I made this argument a million times with tariffs? Oh, you guys want tariffs? Then die. Oh, you can't afford groceries, so you back the president who said he would do the thing that would make groceries more expensive? Then die. I don't know what you want. I'm trying with all my might to get you to not kill us both, and you're insistent over and over again. You insist on hitting the button that kills you and me. Jesus. Anyway, the worse Trump makes things for these people, maybe they'll learn their lesson in the future. That being said, to kind of round this out, I think the liberal overemphasis on Dearborn comes across as kind of myopic and arrogant. You're Muslims. You should have known better. There are tons of communities that voted for Trump. Dearborn, Michigan was not a deep red. Like, there was a shift there because Democrats embraced a genocide of Muslims. But like the Dearborn thing specifically, I don't like. To me, this sentiment applies so much more to like every Republican who keeps getting over by Republicans and never changes or stops. How will they learn if their only source of info is Fox News telling them it's Democrats' fault anyway? Well, maybe they'll run out of money and won't be able to pay their electricity bill and they'll suffer and die. What do you want from me? They keep pressing the button. I'm not pressing the button. You can't keep sheltering these people. I'm just less charitable to this because my entire timeline is liberals blaming everyone but Kamala for 2024. Yeah, well, yeah, but that's not a position I support. You know, I think the Democrats did a wretched job. So, yes, if you're using this sentiment as a way to deflect from the shocking incompetence and evil of the Democrats and of Kamala Harris, then yeah, that's bad. But no, I like fundamentally, we are where we are. Kamala lost, Trump won, and a lot of people voted for the kill everyone, bill. So what are we gonna do? Aren't red states shifting blue the sign they finally learned their lesson? I think so. I think the reason why things went really well in the 2025 elections was in part because a lot of Republican voters have touched the stove. Or at the very least, if they haven't shifted from Republican to Democrat, they're hesitant about voting again for Republican or hesitant about not voting and are rather voting Democrat. It doesn't have to be a right to left shift. It can be a center to left or right to center shift. But either way, people are moving left. After Kamala lost, you said Kamala ran a pretty good campaign. I mean, insofar as she is capable given her worldview. I think I said a lot of things. I think there was a period of time where I thought she did a better job than she did, but I think that over time, my opinion on her has soured considerably. The big red pill for me on Kamala, obviously I never liked her, but the big red pill for me on Kamala was how she y'all her way out of things as soon as she lost. No interest in actually being a leader. Just, oh, well, yeah, okay, goodbye. That to me, and a lot of stuff has been reframed negatively in retrospect, but I stand by my negative perception now, certainly. So I've thought a lot of things and my positions have changed over time, but I think that my negative position on her and the DNC right now is pretty well-founded. It's pretty substantiated. That was before the Pod Save America consultant podcast. That's true. That was very revealing, yeah. I'm from Miami, and we're about to get our first progressive mayor because all the dumbasses here decided to touch the stove last election. That's nice. That's nice. Yeah, again, just if people want to touch the stove, if they insist on touching the stove, then they have to learn. I love how posting something like this proves you have literally zero actual policy disagreements with Donald Trump. That's stupid and not true. Saying that Republicans should suffer Republican policies because otherwise they will never learn is not the same as saying you agree with those policies. It's the opposite. The problem is they don't learn. I disagree with that. I actually think there's a reason that the Republicans have to spend so much effort trying to convince their voters that Democrats are doing all the bad things they're suffering from. And I think there's a reason 2025 shifted so far blue after Trump, because now Trump's getting to do whatever he wants, which, as it turns out, is incredibly destructive for the country. I'm not saying these people are like consistent or that they're not fair weather allies. I'm just saying, like, I do think there is a benefit to letting people touch the stove. Like, let me put it this way. Do you think 2025 would have shifted to the Dems this much if Democrats had a majority in the Senate and House and were preventing the Trump administration from doing anything? So Trump was in office, but once again, kind of a lame duck who can't actually change anything. I bet you in 2025, the results would not have shifted left nearly as much. Suffering motivates people. It's one of the few things that consistently, reliably motivates people, actually. There's a lot of other stuff people, they won't get up out of bed for. Certainly nobility doesn't motivate people, doing the right thing or whatever. Righteous indignation, suffering. They voted for it. I didn't vote for it. I didn't vote for the kill everyone bill. I didn't vote for Project 2025. Disagree. I think hope motivates people. Yeah, like a hope that they won't be suffering in the future if Trump loses. Wouldn't that be nice? Not gonna lie, I'm gonna have a hard time trusting the Hispanic voting bloc for a long time. Yeah, it's definitely like a discussion worth having that over the course of 10 years, Hispanics shifted so pro-Trump when the entire time his main campaigning position was, we got to get those damn Mexicans out. That's pretty crazy. Vosh, I don't really understand perspective. I didn't vote for this in my district either, but the Democrats never came to my district and tried to fight for it. Now a third of the population that doesn't vote for him has to suffer. Kowalski, I'm not saying that people who didn't vote for Trump have to suffer. People are suffering. I just think that it's morally appropriate that people who voted for the suffering are getting it. Much better, I'm sure we would agree, than the people voting for the suffering and then only everyone else getting it, which is what they want, right? White people keep having their economic rights stripped from them because the people in charge tell them that the blacks and the browns and so on are getting them too, right? But you want, like, would it be better if they could actually do that selectively? Like, would it be better if the welfare state was deconstructed, but only for non-whites, and the white people who voted for its deconstruction still got to enjoy the welfare state? I don't know. I feel like if the welfare state's going away for non-white people, white people gotta suffer too. Because they're the ones who voted for it. White people are the ones who dismantled all of the post-World War II, all of the regulations. Yeah, white people be crazy, kissing their dogs on the mouth and stuff. And they do be shopping, yeah. What the f*** are people on about? It's actually acceptable to cheer on fascist kidnapping squads if the ethnic scapegoats were not sufficiently... Okay, a lot of these people are just projecting other arguments. They do be shopping for arguments. Like, I'll put it this way, okay? If Trump won and ICE is going to be doing raids, I want them to be raiding Trump supporters too. That's all I'm... Listen, I know broadly they're not, and that's bad. I'm just saying that if you're a Trump voter and your ass gets iced, I'm not bad. I don't feel bad. You literally wanted it to happen. It's not good that people are suffering broadly. It's just if they're going to be suffering anyway, might as well be the right people suffering, you know? It's like, I'm not pro-prison. I don't like the American prisons. American prisons are hellholes. They're torturous, you know? But as long as they're going to exist, I want the right people to be in there, you know? Like, if I could reform the prison system, I would, but I can't. So I think that rapists and murderers should probably be in there, you know? But I thought you didn't want anyone to go to prison. Well, I would like it if prisons were different. However, if we have to have them, there are some people I'd rather be in there than not.